Welcome to Taste the Nations, and today we're going to feature Brazil. I've traveled to over 55 countries around the world, and I've eaten my way through each one of them. And the one thing that I've learned in all my travels is this. I've discovered that one of the easiest ways to get a glimpse into the soul of a country or a culture is through their food. Discover the flavors of the world one delicious bite at a time, and welcome to Taste the Nations. So I'm excited to be here at this wonderful little Brazilian cafe called Padaria, and I'm here with my good friend Carla, who is the reason why I had the great pleasure of visiting Brazil early part of 2020. And one of the things that she's going to showcase today and how to make is something that's called tapioca. But in my world, tapioca often is in a pudding or these little bubble balls that are often in a drink that's very popular here in Toronto called bubble tea. But the tapioca you're going to be making is going to be quite different. Tell us about it.
Yes, Giuseppe. So just out of curiosity, there's no bubble tea in Brazil, so we don't know what that would be related to tapioca at all. For us, This is nothing. So we're going to be using this tapioca flour. That is actually one of the flours that we make out of yuca or cassava. This one that we use for tapioca is the gum. It's like the starch of the cassava that is hydrated and then it's turned into this flour that we're going to use for the base of our crepe. We call it crepe to make it easier to understand because it's in the shape of a crepe, but actually it doesn't have anything in it like eggs or liquid to make it into a batter, so it's just the flour itself with the temperature of the pan that makes the crepe.
And is it gluten-free?
It is gluten-free, yes, because it's just cassava starch. It's just the root starch, right? So it's not even from a grain. It's a flour from a root. And today we're going to be making two versions, like a savory and a sweet, because we eat this in any situation that we can have for breakfast, for lunch, for snack, for dinner, and sweet, savory, dessert, doesn't matter. We're crazy about tapioca, so I think this dish is actually, it's a good representation of what we eat on a daily basis in my country.
I love it. I look forward to watching you make this, and I hope you are too. Well, now is the time to start cooking. But I'm one who believes that there should only be one chef in the kitchen at a time. So I'm going to hand the reins over to my friend Carla. So Carla, take her away.
Thank you, Giuseppe. So, as promised, we're going to be cooking something that is very common in Brazil, and we eat in every moment. It can be breakfast, it can be lunch, it can be snack, it can be dinner, anything. And this recipe, this dish is very versatile because you can have in the savory version or sweet. You can have vegetarian with meat, vegan, whatever. And it's also gluten-free, so it's very good for a lot of diets. So that's why it's becoming so popular, not only in Brazil, but out of Brazil and in other countries now. So for today's recipe, we're going to be using really simple ingredients. So the main ingredient is going to be our tapioca gum or tapioca flour. And also we're going to be doing something with cheese and ham and turkey, things that you can have easily in your fridge. Also simple version just with some butter and some maple syrup just for some sweetness, and also strawberries and some chocolate spread. So it's going to be really easy to make, but we need to have the right equipment. So we're going to be needing pans that I'm going to show you, but the first thing we're going to need a sifter because this flour is hydrated, so it's it has some water in it. It's good to have like really fine flour when we're making the tapioca in our pan. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start by sifting the flour. Easy. I'd say each tapioca, depending on the size of your pan, should take about 3 tablespoons of flour. So it doesn't take much, but you have to put the right amount or it's get too thin. It's not gonna get like in a good shape. So first thing, just basic sifting. And you're gonna see, you're gonna have all these chunks of flour because of the water, and that's when you're gonna need some, something to just make it through the sieve. All right, so that's pretty much good for first one. All right, so here's our flour, really thin. We're gonna go to the stove now. Okay, so let's get started here. First things first, you need the right pan for it. So I would strongly suggest some non-stick pan that you have in your home for your eggs or omelets or your pancakes. Usually we use a bigger one, a larger one for tapioca, like super flat. But if you don't have one of these, you can just, you know, work with your egg one. As long as it's non-stick, to be sure it's going to work. But if you are a good cook, you can also try with a cast iron pan. Then you just make really well tempered and hot, and then you're going to have the same result. If you're just, you know, not a cook that is very into a cast iron, the egg pan is going to be perfect. So first thing, put it on high, and I'll give like a couple of minutes because it has to be hot when you put the tapioca in it. So this was hot a little bit before we started. So as soon as you think, as you see it's kind of smoking, you can put down to kind of a little bit more than medium, and it's going to be okay. So for this amount, this small pan, I'm gonna use like 3 tablespoons. So first thing, you just dump the tablespoons in it like this, and then you start spreading your flour from the middle to the edges. You don't press, you just spread. So you keep spreading, have to have a little bit of patience here and there. Make sure you have like an even amount of flour all over, but of course if it doesn't get perfect, it's gonna be delicious anyways. So it seems pretty even to me. And now we wait a bit, and we're gonna start noticing that the little flour bits are gonna start getting dry. So you just notice as it's getting dry, it's setting together. That's the whole thing. That's the magic of it. Nothing else. So you can start testing to see if it's already getting together. Yeah. See, if you can move it like this, it's time for the filling. So we're gonna start with some cheese in this one. Put this good amount of cheese, and I'm gonna use some ham. 2 slices. Put here. A little bit more patience, like that. And then at the end, you just fold it. You have to be gentle, so you cannot make this in a rush. It's so simple, but it needs time to set. So you can see, like this. I like to flip a little bit. If you don't feel really confident about it, you don't have to flip it at all. Just wait until the cheese is melted. And we have our first scrape, our savory one. So ham and cheese ready to go. You can just use the same pan to make your sweet one because you don't use anything else other than the flour, right? Let's get my spoon. Okay, so same thing. 1, 2, 3. Start spreading from the middle. Don't push too much, just spread. Be gentle, be kind. Make sure it's nice and round. And you wait. I'm gonna use some strawberries for this one, so I'm chopping them a bit. How's that? Yeah, it's getting there. That's the time. And we're gonna put this chocolate in it. It's just delicious, indulging. Just a little bit more chocolate in there. Strawberries. Looks good. Then when it's all set, you just fold it. It's really basically a miracle because it's just flour and heat and becomes this amazing dish. It's ready. Here we have 2 over tapiocas.
I hope you enjoyed learning from Carla how to make tapioca. And one of the neat things about this particular dish is that it's the first thing that was made for me when I went to Brazil in January of 2020. And I had no idea this dish even existed until then. And I hope that you can do this at home. Thank you, Chef Carla, for taking the time to show us how to make this wonderful dish. And of course, before we sign off, I gotta actually eat this. So, got my knife and I got my fork. And we're gonna start with the savory first, so that you can all see what I'm eating. Cheers. That's good.
I know, I know.
And now I gotta try the sweet one. It's so pretty.
Go for it.
I'm gonna make sure I got a strawberry in there too. So we'll cut that up. Alrighty. So this is with the hazelnut, cream, and strawberries. Ooh, I like that one.
I know.
I like that one a lot. Well, that's it for now, and I hope you enjoyed your time watching. And until we meet again, I encourage you to continue to explore, be adventurous with your palate, and of course, stay hungry. Thanks again.